Hi, welcome to Author's Note.
Don't listen!
My name is Cass.
And my name is Teese.
Huge thank you, before we even get started, to everyone who jumped on our Patreon and decided to support us. More, I guess, subscription-based. That means a whole heck of a lot to us, and I'm not great at communicating that verbally, but please know that I am struggling with my emotions. We also hit a milestone in episode downloads, and that was also a really big moment for us. It's just overwhelming support, and thank you so much for that, because it means a lot to us.
Also, just saying, if you do join the Patreon, you get to vote on an episode, and right now the concept of Tails Gets Trolled is winning.
Mm-hmm.
But if you'd rather hear about Lisa Frank, and what are our two other topics?
The other two things people can vote on are why are we making so many 90s characters queer, and things we wish had fandoms.
There we go. So
if you would like a say in the episodes we choose to tackle, I mean, at the end of this month, next month.
If it sounds delicious, now's your time to hop in on the Patreon. You could vote on the poll for literally just $1. So, like they say in American Idol, your vote matters. Actually, no, that's just all elections. What's that?
Well, is it all elections, Teese? Do we want to get into that one?
No, I don't, but but you know what I'm trying to say. If you do want to hear about one of those topics in specific, now's the time to hop on, and we'd love to have you. And plus, if you do the $5 patron option, you can get to hear our voice again for an extra time of once a month, where we talk about stuff that we really like, called Show and Tell. So, not gonna toot my own horn, but I kinda really enjoyed Show and Tell a lot, and I cannot wait for next month's episode as well. But
yeah, we've already reached our Patreon goal of being able to cover basically all of our incidental fees. So our hosting is covered, our website domain is covered, all of that is covered, which is huge. That means we're breaking even, and now we can put money toward hopefully paying guests in the future or other services, whether that be transcription or what have you. So thank you again so much for that. I feel like it would be kind of disingenuous if we got into the podcast about fandom, especially about anime, and we did not talk about what happened this week, even briefly. So without going into detail, we do, obviously want to promote our Patreon, but also it's absolutely 100% understandable. And I would encourage you to seek out local organizations to help protect marginalized and unheard voices in your community, especially those in the Asian community. The country has been in an insipid state for a very, very long time, and unfortunately those voices continue to be unheard and silenced and really horrifically hurt.
Be respectful during these times. Don't pit the Asian struggle against Black Lives Matter. Be respectful. Respect people with different cultures. Obviously, not all East Asians are about K-pop and anime and stuff like that. Please be considerate to these people during their time of need and hurt, and listen to what they have to say. Don't jump the gun and assume certain things. Don't make memes out of people, and be respectful and thoughtful. And if you can support in any way, shape, or form, please do, because especially now more than ever, especially during COVID, when Chinatowns and other marginalized groups that are small, local, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Neighborhoods that specialize within specific countries and cultures and stuff like that have been really affected during COVID. So please just consider, maybe buy from the shops around you, small businesses and stuff like that. Make sure, if you have the ability with your languages, make sure that you could help out with elders being able to sign up for COVID vaccines or for protection services or bringing food to these people. There are tons and tons and tons of ways that you could help. And even just retweeting and reblogging and stuff like that can bring awareness and understanding to people who might not have necessarily the tools or the knowledge. So just in this time of need, be a little compassionate and considerate. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. Well said. We are both more active on our personal Twitter. So if you're looking for resources, I know we have both shared links to some on our personal Twitters that you can find, but there are also a bevy of resources, and I will link some in the episode description
thank you.
below for you to check out.
Perfect.
All of that said, Teese,
Yeah.
what have you been getting up to this week?
So baby started a new job. So
Baby started a new job.
Bobby started a new job. Teese got a job. Teese go to work.
Teese do got a job.
I've kind of had limited time to explore some fun and sexy things. However, this Monday, the Oscar nominations got announced. And
how bad are they?
Oh, so what's wonderful is that this year I only watched 4 movies. So I am not angry about anything because I haven't seen anything this year.
Okay.
2020 has been a time for me to kind of watch some older movies that I wanted to watch, and spending a lot of time smoking weed and watching bad movies from my teenage years and just kind of catching up on good old Teese time. So now there are 40 movies that have been nominated for the Oscars, and I only saw 4 of them that got nominated, so I'm kind of...
You have to watch them all now.
Yeah, essentially. I've done it before, and I'll do it again. And
oh my... I was kidding.
No, 2013 is the year I probably shaved off 8 years of my life. Within a span of 2 weeks, I watched 28 movies, and...
Are you okay?
I mean, that was 2013, so I've recovered.
No, yeah, I know. But trauma is lingering. Are you okay?
No, because I have a lot of opinions about the 2013 Oscars still to this day.
And now you have opinions about the 2000 winners of an AMV contest.
Oh, I sure fucking do. And, so this past week, I watched the original Borat for the first time.
Oh my god.
Because
I've never seen it.
It's Caspian.
My wife.
You know, I'm not gonna go into it, but oofa doofa. And then because I have to watch eventually Borat's subsequent movie film because that got nominated for a few things. And then
It still baffles me that comedy and musical are rolled into the same category.
Baby, that's the Golden Globes, and the Golden Globes don't matter. Just saying. But the Oscars, everything's lumped together. And then besides that, I watched Sound of Metal, which I highly recommend. And that is also an Oscar contender as well. And you know who's in it? You want to guess who's in it?
Yeah, Miss Artemis, Ready Player One.
She sure is!
With her bleached eyebrows.
Oh, her tasty bleached eyebrows. I really enjoyed it. But also, there's a lot of trigger warnings in that movie, so stuff like
Does
that.
the dog die? Is your best friend.
Does the Dog Die is your friend in this situation, and I would highly suggest checking out Does the Dog Die before you watch Sound of Metal. However, it really was a beautiful and fantastic movie, but incredibly sad and sorrowful, I must say. What about you, Cass? What's new?
You can find out what I've been reading and listening to 2 weeks from now, when it will be more pertinent. And also, I'm finishing the book I'm reading tonight after we finish recording, so I'm not allowed to talk about it right now as per my own rule.
Okay. Anything else?
I've been thinking about Burmy a lot.
Your good pal Burmy?
Yeah, my good pal Burmy. My favorite Pokemon, the best Pokemon.
Today?
The most powerful Pokemon.
Today I saw a Mimikyu shaped.
Mimikyu?
Yeah, but it was shaped like a Jolteon, and I got really emotional.
Oh.
I almost bought it for my Ditto purse. I have a Ditto purse, but I stopped myself.
Is it a Ditto purse or a Ditto Ida bag?
It's a Ditto... We always have this discussion. It's a Ditto purse with several Ditto keychains on it. So...
Do we always have this discussion?
I feel like we've talked about this like 3 times. Or at least I've talked about it with 3 other people. I don't know. But I've had this discussion more than once. But it is a little...
I am not the only person you talk to.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little Ditto purse that's clearly made for children, but I use it as an adult. And I have multiple Dittos on it. And friends just buy me more Dittos. So I just keep putting more and more on. It's good.
I think a lot about that one woman who has every single piece of Ditto merchandise that exists.
God.
In like one corner of her house.
Iconic.
Her heaven.
Truly powerful.
Teese.
Yeah.
What do you know about AMVs?
They are videos
Okay.
to music.
Okay.
And people usually take scenes from anime and make a music video out of them. Some of them are just for goofy reasons. Other ones are kind of for a dramatic effect that kind of pulls on the plot of the series or for a ship or something like that. I know that sometimes songs are used kind of to headcanon a character to help move along the plot. Like, I know there's a lot of AMVs to 500 miles for characters that get easily lost or easily confused and stuff like that. The iconic High School Never Ends or On High School Host Club AMV, very similar and stuff like that. I mean, I've been to an anime convention. I've watched AMVs. I've had friends who have sat me down and made me watch their horrible AMVs when we were 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
Harsh critic.
Listen, if she were to listen, she would exactly know who I am talking about. And she would know exactly what AMV I am talking about, because all she did was take the opening of Kingdom Hearts 2, put Love Story by Taylor Swift over it, and added the rainbow effect. And even when she showed it to me, she's like, this
that
was
dreaded
lazy.
Rainbow effect.
The most, literally, baby's first AMV that I've ever watched had the rainbow effect. And the rainbow effect is important to Windows Movie Maker culture. And I stand for the rainbow effect.
Some would argue queer culture in general.
Dare I say, bisexual lighting.
Okay, so this week we are doing a brief overview on the history of AMVs, kind of how they started and their importance into fandom culture, because, oh my god, as I quickly learned, you could probably do an entire collegiate course on AMVs, their history, and the techniques in making them. So consider
would love to take a class on that. That'd be so cool.
Film school becomes good again. So consider this an introduction to AMVs if you are somehow unfamiliar. What is an AMV, you might ask, my dear listening Burmy who sits there in their Pokeball? AMV stands for Anime Music Video and is, according to fan lore, a transformative art form usually produced by combining footage from Japanese animation with music. Sometimes those AMVs are made using fan art, manga scans, or media from other animated properties like Disney or Don Bluth. We did put out a poll on our Twitter asking people for their favorite AMVs or just AMVs that really changed them, and I'll have a link to that Twitter thread in the description or show notes of this episode as well.
We'll do a YouTube playlist.
AMVs that use manga panels and art might be referred to as manga music videos. There was one in particular that I watched last night that was for Pandora Hearts, and the user had cleaned up and cut out all of these scans and portions of the panels and painted them by hand to make what is quite possibly the best manga music video I have ever seen. Oh, delicious. Fantastic. Sometimes the creation of AMVs, cosplay music videos, manga music videos, whatever, get referred to with vidding, like I'm watching vids on YouTube, which was never part of my lexicon as a kiddo watching AMVs. But I do remember, people kind of referring to it as like, yeah, they make vids or they do vids, that kind of thing. What was interesting I found out is that AMV is a term that's used primarily by people who speak a language other than Japanese, as Japanese fans tend to use the term MAD, which is music anime dauga, or video, essentially.
It's pronounced dauga?
Is it? How would you say it?
Dauga?
Douga?
Yeah.
I would say dauga.
Okay. I don't know how it's pronounced, but also...
It's spelled D-O-U-G-A.
But also, I have a pretty bad track record, don't I?
There is a name coming up that I sat here and practiced saying before we started.
I believe in you. You can do this.
The earliest known AMV was made in 1982. Teese, what were you doing in 1982?
I was just a little egg in my mom's body.
Just kicking around between the fallopian tubes
just
and ovaries.
Vibing.
That's not really how it works, but you just kind of ventured out.
12 years later, I was
catapulted to life.
I was made in a petri dish, baby. Like...
Were you a petri dish baby?
Yeah, I was inseminated. My parents
yeah.
Yeah, my parents shooted the cabooted.
They never had sex.
No, never.
They never engaged in coitus.
No.
It's safer that way.
Yeah, it's better. Immaculate conception.
Teese,
Yeah.
baby Jesus, scrunt 2 in a manger. That one really got you, huh?
Yeah.
Please be a professional and collect yourself. This is shameful. We're trying to run a collegiate podcast.
Please just keep going.
So that very first AMV used clips from Space Cruiser Yamato's episodes The Prisoner, Fallout, and various violent scenes. It was edited between 2 VCR decks with no edit controller, and it was set to the Beatles' All You Need Is Love.
What a power move.
As I understand, it was an ironic music choice.
Mm-hmm.
You can find a version of that AMV without video on YouTube among various other quote-unquote vintage, I'm going to call them vintage AMVs if they came before the aughts, by the same user, Ultra Goji, whose name is Jim Capostastesta. I think I got that right.
Nice.
If I have mispronounced that, I apologize. Phil Whitmer for Vice wrote about this and says, quote, Capostastesta's method involved careful synchronization of 2 VCR players, one standard player for a dubbed cassette of music and another equipped with a flying erase head with which to better edit the video component of the AMV. While no version of Capostesta's mashup is available online, nearly every aspiring AMV maker used the 2 VCR method that he utilized until much later when editing software became practical enough to afford and use, end quote. Which is so wild to think about because, like, I watched VCS. I watched VHS tapes as a kid growing up. Like, I was still kind of, I caught the end of VHSs before they really kind of started to fall out of favor and, you know, popular use. So by the time I was making AMVs, if I wanted to share them with friends, your boy put those on a CD and rolled up to my friend's house and was like, hey, pop this in the DVD player. I made it in iMovie.
Wow. I love that.
Teese, did you ever make AMVs?
No, God, no. But I did have a
Why,
digital...
God, no.
I wasn't into anime until I was 14.
Right.
I had shame at that point. If I was like 11 and I got into anime, oh, baby, it would be over because there was a time period in my life where I really, really wanted to be a filmmaker. And I had a digital blue camera and I would make stop motion movies and I would make little short movies in digital blue. Like I was editing videos as a child, but I never went further than that. Like I never made a YouTube where I edited videos or anything like that. Like I tried vlogging once, that didn't work well. But I feel like
if we get to $1,200 on the Patreon, Teese will start vlogging again.
No, oh my God. You know what we should do? We should make our own AMVs. If we hit a certain Patreon
I made
goal.
AMVs. Well, they are all gone and I will not be bringing them back.
Please, let's make our own new AMVs.
Yeah, I'd be down for making
I
some
really
AMVs.
want to
That'd
make
be very fun.
So I actually thought about this the other day because we were talking about this episode and I was thinking like if I had to make one very T-score AMV, what would it be?
Neopet.
No.
Beck Mongolian Chop Squad.
I mean, yeah.
20th
probably.
Century Boys.
Listen, 20th Century Boys does not have an anime. So I would have to do it
so
with
make a manga music video.
I don't know how to use image processing. I don't know how to use art programs. But I was thinking that I really wanted to do one to review Starlight with This Must Be the Place, which I think would be really funny. And
none of those words meant anything to me.
Yeah.
But I fully support and endorse you.
This Must Be the Place is a Talking Head song, and then Review Starlight is just another miserable lesbian musical theater magical girl anime, and it slaps really hard, but it would work hypothetically with the cast and episode themes. So that's what Teese would do if I ever had the gall and gumption to make an AMV, I guess.
I made AMVs for Naruto, obviously. Of course. You have to.
Yeah.
Wolf's Rain, Eureka 7,
Yeah.
of course, absolutely. Again,
Checks
had
out.
to.
Yeah.
Twilight Princess,
Really?
the best Zelda game.
Iconic.
I don't think that's the best Zelda game, but it does have a very near and dear place. I'm remembering when I was working with kids one time, and one of them turned to me and just with all the confidence in the world said, you know, Breath of the Wild is the first open world Zelda game. And I've never wanted to gatekeep a child so hard.
One time, I guess they're kind of my niece and nephew, my step nibblings, so to say, were like, you like anime, don't you? And I was like, and they were like,
got called out.
Yeah, and they were like, we saw your posters in your bedroom. And I was like, oh my god.
You got called out by a bunch of children.
Children always know how to cut you so deep when it comes to your nerd interests, I swear to God.
Children just know how to cut you.
Yeah, for real.
They are unrelenting. Anyway. The first known fanvid, which was not exclusive to anime, was actually made in 1975 when, get this, Candy Fong synced Star Trek stills on a slide projector to music from a cassette player that she had to, like, perform live, basically.
Wow, that's really cool. Damn.
And when
DJ.
she, like, presented it, I guess the people who were, like, kind of hosting the event, I believe it was at a convention, were like, wow, so this is, like, the first new Star Trek footage ever since the show ended. So thank you, Candy, for giving this to us. Wow. But it just, like, it ignited this whole new sense of, like, how you could take pre-existing media and transform it and further it, you know?
That's really cool. Wow. Shout out to people who, like, thought of this stuff before it was even, like, a concept. Yeah, a concept in your mind. Like, literally, we owe so much to AMV
to Star Trek.
To Star Trek. And to Star Trek. I know we've had somebody pitch to us in the past, like, a pre-internet fandom episode, and I would love to do that down the road. But, like, I feel like we need a full episode, not only on just Star Trek, but just what Star Trek has given fandom as a concept. Because
it's going to end up being a series of videos. When y'all want a Star Trek month, let us know now so we can start preparing. Is there like a month?
Yeah, I would do a month.
Trekkies got a day?
Yeah. I've never watched a single episode of Star Trek.
I think I've watched one or two before.
I've only seen the J.J. Abrams movies. Otherwise, that's it.
Oh, JJ.
I just love Zachary Quinto. That's what it is.
Zachary Quinto's great. JJ is not. The hobby of making AMVs paralleled fan dubs and parodies, which were largely being distributed through VHS tapes in trades and distribution services or even at conventions. And AMVs actually were being frequently bundled with fan sub VHS tapes. By the mid-90s, AMV contests were frequently being held at anime conventions, and this is when we saw a real bloom of subculture around AMVs, because of course, like, the concept is being introduced to so many people. It is natural that anytime you show people artwork of any kind, somebody in the audience is sitting there going, well, I could do better than that. And then they try, and maybe they do, and maybe they fail. But it encouraged other people to go out and make their own deal. So AMVs have become much more common with the accessibility of both video editing technology and online video distribution. It's also gotten much easier to get a hold of anime. I mean, I feel like when I was growing up, I just didn't know a lot of anime because it just wasn't available to me. I couldn't, find it in the places where I was normally, getting movies, DVDs, etc. It wasn't, being talked about much at my school.
It was a novelty,
like manga.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very much a novelty. It was in the back crispy corner of FYE stores.
Oh, baby, there was a Suncoast by me back in the day.
Suncoast.
Tasty. I mean, I kind of missed the boat of Suncoast anime, but I definitely... Teese has always been into movies and music, so anime was always there in the peripheral vision,
My mom was, like, definitely very amazed by anime, and she introduced it to me when I was 7 with Princess Mononoke.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah,
it remains one of my favorite movies.
We were talking about it earlier. It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, we were.
Really good.
Wait, hold on. Okay, this is a huge divergence.
Yeah.
but I need to put out a call.
Yeah?
There is an anime movie I saw as a child, and I cannot, for the life of me, remember the title of it. It
Uh-huh.
was dubbed. I remember it was dubbed, and I rented it from a Blockbuster. The
Okay.
things I remember about it are that there was a war going on,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a woman who was in love with a guy, and he had like that really sort of like full Slayer anime hair. And I think it was blonde, and there was like a whole through line about her waiting on a cliff for him to return from war, maybe.
Are you
And I
not
don't
just
know
talking
that
about the
he ever
Pokemon
did.
episode?
No, this is not the Pokemon episode. This was like a distinct movie.
Okay.
This was not Pokemon. And I think at one point they turned into like pink or reddish birds and flew off into the sky.
That does sound familiar.
So if you know what that is, please tell me. I want to find out because I want to watch it and see if it's any good.
That actually does sound vaguely familiar. As soon as you said something about the bird,
I don't think it's a Ghibli movie. I'm pretty certain it's not a Ghibli movie.
I don't think it is either, but I feel like that sound. I don't know.
If you know, please help me.
This is haunted Cass's whole life.
Yeah. In an Ask John post for Anime Nation in 2009, a user asked why AMVs were so popular with Western fans as opposed to Japanese fans. And Teese, would you like to read this for me?
Yeah. I suspect that part of the explanation for this imbalance lies in the fact that, especially for Western viewers, anime is a more purely visual medium than films like Star Wars or Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Cinema in our native language tends to encourage our cognitive intellect and our visual input equally. The same applies to Japanese fans watching Japanese animation. But for Western viewers watching anime, especially in Japanese language, the visuals make a greater impact on our senses because we don't understand the spoken language or story with the same understanding that we grasp the visuals with. Wow, interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting point. I think it does. I mean, this was written in 2009,
Mm-hmm.
and dubbed anime is way more available and accessible now than it
Mm-hmm.
ever has been.
Yep.
So that point doesn't quite hold up as much.
Mm-hmm.
John also says this may be why we see less AMVs made for Western natively English properties.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the actual sticking point is that animation in general is able to achieve many things that live action material isn't readily able to,
Mm-hmm.
thus boosting that visual experience, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what makes it such a feast for the eyes and why you're able to achieve anything with animation, because you're not constrained by human bodies or the realms of, you know, gravity or possibility or physics or what have you, because you
Mm-hmm.
can animate whatever you want, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Caldwell was an acclaimed AMV maker of the late 90s and is generally, you know, kind of referred to as like one of the greats, one of the originals. Caldwell employed precise editing to make characters appear to be lip syncing to song lyrics. He is like renowned for his AMV for battle athletes that used the Franca Potente song Believe, and you can find that on YouTube still and watch it. It is a really, really cool AMV.
It bangs. It's so good.
And when you watch it, like, you need to remember that as you're watching like this lip syncing happening, this was before the advent of like Windows Movie Maker or, you know, more traditional.
iMovie. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, way before iMovie.
yeah.
But yeah, this was before the advent of a lot of like editing software that like is so easily available to us now.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's amazing what you can just do with TikTok nowadays on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, as evidenced by Ratatouille the Musical.
Yes.
In this period of like the late 90s, early 2000s, there was still a level of exclusivity to AMV creation, as the technology or software required was more demanding and way less accessible.
Also, super expensive. We
Super
forget
expensive.
how expensive anime used to be as a hobby. Now anybody could watch something online. You know, a lot of
Mhm.
people put up stuff, technically illegal streams online, and I mean, how much is a
Yeah.
Crunchyroll subscription or whatever? But you forget how expensive it is. It's like when you buy manga. Like, you know how nobody wants to buy manga because it's $12 for a volume of shit.
Is it 12 now? Damn.
I think, yeah, it is. Even more sometimes.
It was $10 back in my day for a volume of manga.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like the same idea with manga. Like, manga feels expensive, but imagine only buying a VHS tape with 4 episodes on it, or buying a DVD with only 4 episodes on it. Like, that's not even a whole series. That's a third of a series sometimes, at minimum. And then to not only, especially stuff like, there was nobody really bringing stuff over. It was all like under the table fan translation a lot of time, and it was expensive. Like, it was expensive to have a VHS. It was expensive to translate. It was expensive to get a laser disc eventually down the road. Like, all of this shit was so expensive, and I think
and all of that coming with unsightly watermarks that you may or may not had to, finagle your way around in editing software. How expensive that editing software was.
Yeah.
Like, the hardcore AMV makers who were adults who could buy Sony Vegas, as opposed to the 12-year-olds running around either using their parents' copy or pirating it.
Yeah, or like unregistered hypercam videos. Like, it's...
Oh my god, yeah.
Ooh. Expensive.
But, so the interesting thing about AMVs and how they're regarded is they're free advertising, and they're a great way to get people interested in anime or manga that you want them to check out. The iconic Hold Me AMV of the Princess Tutu fandom won Best of Show at Anime Boston in 2006 and got many people interested in and watching Princess Tutu. If you have not watched this AMV, I encourage you, I implore you to just look up Hold Me, Princess Tutu. I think it technically has like the original song title is in another language. You can find it if you search that up. There will be a link to it in the show notes. I'll make a list of things that I need to link for you all. It is incredible. The editing is phenomenal, and the technical skill always wows me. And like, it's not super flashy. Like, it doesn't employ a ton of like timing effects in terms of like remapping the time or, color grading or anything like that. It is just like a lot of like raw cutting that is done so expertly, and some like soft and subtle transitions. Just, Teese, have you seen this AMV?
Yes, I have. And the song has been stuck in my head all day today, but...
Also, Princess Tutu is a fucking phenomenal anime, and I cannot recommend it enough.
Literally, watching that AMV reminded me just how raw and beautiful...
Princess Tutu will get you.
Listen, yeah, okay, it's a ballet magical girl anime, but it's so good.
It's so much more than that. It's so much more than that.
It's so beautiful. It's about defying your fate, which is always such a tasty trope for me. Oh my god. Oh, it's so good. Highly recommend. Anyway.
From fan lore, quote, ironically, when the creator first identified Hol Em Mig as the perfect song for Princess Tutu AMV, she hadn't yet watched the anime. Hold Me Now would go on to become her most popular AMV, end quote. Yeah.
Raw as hell.
Imagine just hearing a song being like, I should make a Princess Tutu AMV this. I've never watched it, but I just know.
I love that.
Teese, could you read this next quote for us, kind of about the relationship that exists between, let's say, IP holders and distributors and AMV makers?
Yeah. In an interview with site Anime News Network, Funimation Entertainment copyright specialist Evan Flornay said they generally see AMVs as a sort of free advertising. The basic thinking going into fan videos is thus: if it whets the audience's appetite, we'll leave it alone. But if it sates the audience's appetite, it needs to come down.
Which I think is really interesting. More of the sort of battle you had with AMVs and IP holders was with record labels. And record labels are still frequently at odds with AMV makers and hosting sites like animemusicvideos.org and YouTube. The musical artists themselves, though, don't seem to feel the same way. In 2008, Japanese electronica duo Boom Boom Satellites actually joined the AMVJ remix sessions to promote their new singles, which I think is really amazing.
That's
and
so cool.
Lawrence Lessig, the founder of Creative Commons, specifically points to AMVs as an example when discussing the legality and creative nature of the digital remix culture that exists. Which, again, like, I think we all laugh and joke about the angsty AMVs we made as teenagers, but like AMV culture in and of itself is so hugely important
Mm-hmm.
to the landscape of transformative works and fan media.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this aspect of quote unquote Western culture is at odds with the transformative works culture of Japan, where fans are more encouraged to create fan content, with creators viewing it as an expansion and a way to draw in more support. And mangakas have even been known to create doujinshis of their own IPs themselves, which is, I think, really amazing. And I think that also ties into why you see more Western fans making AMVs as opposed to Japanese fans, and why AMVs are much more popular than MADs. Because of that sort of like weird rocky relationship with record labels, you know, sometimes they get copyright stricken. It's not profitable for people to make money off of AMVs because they get immediately, you know, claimed on YouTube by the record labels. WMG is like, "What's up? Hello. I would like the money from that video of Sasuke and Naruto kissing. Thank you." I know you took a lot of time, Bedelia, to edit it to make it look very precise and like it was the real kiss, but I will be taking the profits from that. AMVs have always been used as a way to share music, though, and like a lot of my teenage music obsessions came from watching AMVs. Like, I ended up discovering the song Carnival of Rust by Poets of the Fall because of a Full Metal Alchemist AMV. I also found In the Shadows by the Rasmus the same way. And like, I don't know how well those two songs hold up. Every now and again, I go back to In the Shadows because I'm like, this is a little emo bop. I'm here for this. But yeah. Teese, is there any song that you discovered via an AMV that still sticks with you?
Actually, Baby's first ever watched AMV was a Mermaid Melody AMV to...
Mermaid Melody's so beautiful.
Yeah, it was a nightcore version of Tell Me Where You Are by DJ Carly. And
Yes.
yeah, and it bopped. It was good. Like, I once again had the rainbow effect and we're being like blown away. Because at that time, only anime exposure I really had was to Studio Ghibli and Sailor Moon and stuff like that. And I remember just watching that AMV and hearing that song and being like, damn, this bops. Like, I literally, I think I actually looked up the song like the other day, and that's how I found out that it was a Nightcore remix, because I was listening to the song. It's like, this is way slower than I remember it being. And then it's like, oh my god, it's just been a Nightcore remix in the back of my mind this whole time. I mean, I still remember the lyrics to that song, so I definitely listened to it a lot once I found it, you know?
I found the My Little Pony Discord song through an AMV, which is how I didn't know that it was a My Little Pony
Oh my
song.
We're gonna have to do an episode on My Little Pony fan music as a whole one day, because the amount of talent that came from pony musicians, holy shit. Like, fantastic.
Every
truly
pony
powerful.
can make music.
Yeah, for real.
According to Beatrice Viri for CBR.com, Dragon Ball Z became heavily associated with Linkin Park to the point where the AMVs using both properties were nicknamed Linkin Ball Z.
Oh my god.
Which is incredible. And the massive boom of Linkin Ball Z overtook the AMV community and grew really tiresome for some people for a period of time. Again, quoting Phil Whitmer for Vice, quote, Troy Williams blames the challenge authority mentality of many a teen and the rise of personal computers, while blogger, critic, and Anime News Network writer Nick Creamer sees the conditions more conservatively. Most fans of anime are into anime for only a couple years, typically in their early or mid-teens, says Creamer. The art they produce as a result will often reflect that, meaning that teens who are big into angsty rock songs are going to bring that passion to their AMVs, end quote. The even better part of this is that Linkin Park is aware and a little amazed by their grip in the AMV community, and says that the connection between the band and anime kind of makes sense given that they've collabed with Studio Gonzo, who's made Hellsing and done scenes for Kill Bill, for doing their Breaking the Habit video.
Powerful.
Which they also apparently have a special edition Gundam model from Bandai. I don't know if that's a Linkin Park Gundam or they received like an exclusive Gundam for them.
Wow.
Either way, that's really cool. Beatrice Viri again writes, Teese, would you like to read this one?
Hi, Bea. Other popular bands and singers from the height of AMVs include Cascada, Katy Perry, Evanescence, and others. Videos centered around shipping often featured songs like Malchik Gay by Tattoo, very popular with yaoi ships, and I Will Go Down with This Ship by Dido. Oh my god, that makes so much sense.
I Will Go Down with This Ship is a song I have not listened to in so long.
It's
and
actually
now
called
I'm like,
White Flag. Thank you very
yeah.
much.
Okay, take it up with Bea.
Bea, we got some words coming.
I have not listened to that song in so long, and after this, I'm going to listen to it
I
immediately.
can probably still. So I was very into Karaoke Revolution as a child.
Are you going to sing this song for me?
No, but I probably still can sing the whole entire song rote memorization if I think about it.
Cool, so if we panel out a con, hold Teese up to this one.
Okay, I'll try.
Anime 404 is a fantastic example of the reach AMVs have when their technical skill impresses to the point of acclaim. Please look up Anime 404. I'll include a link, but oh my god, it employs popular memes of the time and a multitude of well-known and recognizable anime to become a visual parody and remix of many things that were already in the popular consciousness of the time. It's a really cool AMV. I would highly encourage people to check out. It doesn't feel like it doesn't age as well because all of those memes are now dead, but it is still really amazing the technical effort that went into it. Matthew Gutierrez, or Baka Opai, made Anime 404 in 2014, and at the time of recording, it has over 33 million views on YouTube.
Wow.
33 million. He is also the creator of the One Punch Man Step AMV, which is an AMV that's a remix of over 85 audio and video samples from One Punch Man to create its own anime step or anime dubstep score, which is, again, incredible. And I cannot imagine how exhaustive or time-consuming that is. AMVs are still very much around and being made all the time, though now they seem to be overlapping more and more with this, like, sort of new culture that comes with fan cams. And fan cams are usually associated with K-pop idols, but have now become the go-to term for this cut-to-music style video that celebrates a person, character, property, or even the state of Georgia. People made a fan cam when Georgia went blue during the 2020 election. I'll include a link to that because it's genuinely a very funny fan cam. Fan cams are usually much shorter, often under a minute, and that's more so to keep within Twitter and TikTok's video length restrictions. There are some beliefs that also plays into this idea of like a shortened attention span. But I think, again, a lot of that is social media algorithms playing things up to their benefit for advertisers.
Mm-hmm.
AMVs are potentially a fantastic way to showcase your editing skills and timing to commercial music. And like, I know of people who have used them in their portfolios to get jobs as editors, especially in trailer houses. So
that's cool as hell.
Good for you, kings and queens and berms.
Gender neutral term, berms.
Yeah, berms. You know, Burmese.
Our Burmese. Our little Burmese.
We're all Burmese. We're all Burmese at heart.
We sure are.
Fans have often made their own trailers or sparked interest in a property through AMVs and music videos for their fandoms. I mean, somebody sent us a Helena Revolutionary Girl Utena AMV, and it is the first thing that has ever made me really seriously want to watch Revolutionary Girl. So I will be watching that now. Thank you to the wonderful person who shared that with us. Again, it will be on the YouTube playlist that Teese will share with you.
It's really bopping. I was
so good.
So good.
So good.
Fucking good. Oh my god. Like, I've tried to watch Utena multiple times, and I was like, damn, this is it. I'm gonna power through and actually for real watch it now. Like, I'm very excited.
I think, before we kind of finish off, I think one of the things that I've been really amazed by in sort of the advent of AMVs and editing culture now is people who make whole storylines between two characters from properties that aren't even related. Like the people who make shipping videos for the one captain in Treasure Planet and Jane from Tarzan. Have you seen that AMV?
No, but I sure have seen Rise of the Brave Tangled Warriors.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's the amount of rotoscoping you have to do. Oh,
Yeah.
I commend you.
The
You
absolute
powerful little Disney fans.
effort to make, truly, I salute every single person who can edit. Constable Frozen, if you're out there, like, holy shit. The amount of time and effort that people go into editing projects like this, both just static photos and video, like, witchcraft. Dare I say, if this was the 1600s, I would stake you and burn you alive, but in a very loving way.
You roll up to the 1600s like, hey, great people, check out this thing that I made. And it's a fucking AMV.
Could you imagine?
You will be burnt at the stake and summarily drowned.
Crush me with rocks.
AMV makers like, we are the daughters of the witches you couldn't. From Phil Whitmer for Vice, once more. The value of AMVs is in their ability to allow for both humor and indulgent gravitas to tell new stories about familiar work. Amen.
Amen. AMVs are so important. Just, I know it's kind of harder to get into because, like, I didn't watch them really as until recently because I just didn't find myself often on YouTube. I just did not have the attention span for YouTube videos as a whole. And, like, even with music videos in general, I'm just like, why am I watching this? And I feel like with things like cosplay and fan art and fan fiction, like, you just look at it, you see it, you can be linked to it. But AMVs truly are just another form of love and dedication to a series, and I cannot express how much doing I took the back seat on this episode, but just the brief amount of research that I did, just the absolute love that people have for anime and for making AMVs, it actually made me cry. Like,
People making
can't.
AMVs are the people who concoct music videos in their heads and then actually go and make them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really amazing. And the fact that they share that with people to, like, really give you this evocative experience, either to retell a story in a new fashion, you know, with the context of new music, or to, like, totally reform and reshape that story in, like, a totally transformative way, I think is so incredible. And, like, I feel like we almost relegate AMVs to this sort of, like, cringy teenagehood of enjoying anime, but that is absolutely not where it should be, because there are amazing people who are making AMVs, you know, in their 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s as fans of anime and manga, and you are never ever too old to indulge in the things you enjoy and that make you happy and to share them with other people.
I salute every single AMV maker, from people who made it in Movie Maker with a rainbow filter to today. You really make something special. And I just thank you, you know, like, I genuinely mean this, like, thank you for sharing it. It's the same way I feel when I see somebody make a cosplay that they're really proud of, that they embroidered and hand stitched. It's the same people who are willing to make fan art and then sell it about series that they really love that somebody might not necessarily buy. It's the same people who write fics that are 200,000 words and only have 200 views. People like this are really the backbone of fandom, and we don't even realize it. And I just am so excited for cons to come back. I'm gonna go to, I feel like I haven't gone to an AMV showing at a con in years, like easily 6-7 years. But I think now when I start going back to cons, I'm gonna go to AMV shows. I'm gonna try and go to more panels. I'm gonna try and do more meetup. I think I want to start interacting with people more, because these are the people that make up a fandom. It's so important, you know. I'm very emotional right now.
We love fandom, and fandom can be so many positive things.
I know sometimes this podcast can be negative, but, like, I genuinely do love fandom. I genuinely love what people are capable of, and I am just so excited to get back on this,
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to talk about some favorite AMVs? Do you have any?
I couldn't think of any AMV. This sounds awful, but I couldn't think of any AMVs that like really, really stuck out to me from my childhood, and that's for a myriad of reasons that doesn't have to do with those AMVs.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But there was so much joy for me in like making a friend a few years ago who is now very, very dear to me, who did. Hi, Nika. If you're listening, hello. Nika's very excited for this episode, but like anytime Nika shares an AMV with me, like, you have to check this out. This is fucking amazing. I'm like, I'm so excited and I'm so stoked because like here is here is the way somebody else saw this series
Mm-hmm.
and wants to reflect it back to you, which I
Yeah.
think is so amazing and so cool
Yeah.
in a way that like fan fiction can't quite be and fan art can't quite be. They are all their own mediums with distinct strengths and weaknesses in certain aspects, and like
Mm-hmm.
there's no one that's better than the other. They're just different. And AMVs have like this amazing benefit of being able to not only introduce you to new visuals that you had never encountered before. I mean, it's how I found out about so much anime growing up. And I know I've seen precious little anime, like we can joke about it all day, but it was how I found out about most of the anime that I did end up watching that did end up really affecting me. Like, it's how I discovered Eureka 7. It's how I discovered Wolf's Rain, which are two animes that I love very, very much and still
Mm-hmm.
stick with me and inspire me to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, I love that. And it's
Mm-hmm.
so, so amazing.
Can I also give a quick shout out, actually?
Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out to the AMV for Kick Heart featuring Buttercup by Jack Stober, which accidentally became like the unofficial music video for Buttercup after the after like the MIDI version of the song became popular because of TikTok and the two little ferrets kissing. A lot of people would just kind of Google Buttercup Jack Stauber once they found out that that was his song, and then it would just automatically pull up the Kick Heart AMV for some reason. And I think a lot of people are like, this is a weird video, and then like lo and behold, it's just it's just an AMV if you think about it, like. But it's so, and I actually really Kick Heart has some problematic issues in it, truth be told, but like, I feel like that happens
What
a
piece
lot.
of media doesn't?
Yeah, true. It's also Masaki Yuasa. We've talked about Yuasa situations before. But like it's so funny because we watch AMVs without even realizing it constantly. Like
Yeah.
this AMV has accidentally 186 million views as we're recording this,
Holy
like,
shit.
I just looked it up right now. And people don't even realize that that isn't the official music video, and I just
Mm-hmm.
shout out to AMVs hold so much power. And I mean, there's a few that really stick out in my mind that I could gladly talk about for a few seconds if you want me to.
Maybe we save those for next week because our
Oh,
conversation
yeah.
about AMVs is not done.
True. Sure isn't.
So, Teese, who will we have with us next week?
Next week, we're going to have my good pal Carter. Their @ is Carter's, CARTYRS. They also were briefly mentioned during our Q&A episode where they asked us a question, and they have made over 300 AMVs in the past, have been a finalist in some AMV competitions, and currently has a film editing degree, if I recall correctly, and does a lot of film work too, and their films are super cool. They also recently made an RPG Maker game, so they're really cool and creative and artsy, and I highly recommend them just as a good old follow. But they're going to be a guest with us next week, and we're going to talk about AMVs, AMV culture, their brush with fame, probably Total Drama Island, because Carter is also a really big Total Drama Island fan. And Carter, I'm sorry for exposing you like this, but I love Total
it's
Drama
good. Get it out
Island.
there. Get it
Get
out
it
there.
out, get it out. So if anybody, I guess, wants to ask any questions about AMV creation and making and what AMV creator might have opinions on or information on, now's the time to shoot us some messages about it. I'm super excited to have Carter as a guest. They are super wonderful, and I just love having my friends come on the show and get to talk about things that they love, which I think is really cool. So if you want to be a guest, shoot us a pitch. We have a pitch guide.
And that is on our website, which is authorsnotepod.com. You can also reach out. You can also reach out to us via email. That's authorsnotepod@gmail.com. I know we haven't been great about replying to the pitches we have gotten so far on our email, but we have seen them all and we have talked about them all. We will get back to you. We promise. We promise.
Yeah.
You can also reach out to us on Twitter. That's @AuthorsNotePod. We do have an Instagram as well. It's a little neglected, but Instagram is kind of just a rolling carousel of ads at this point. So can you really blame us? We're Authors Note Pod over there as well. It helps us out so much. I mean, if you're not able to contribute, that is totally fine and absolutely understandable. But it helps us out a ton if you are able to just share the show with some friends, leaving us a review on any of the platforms you listen to us at, all sorts of stuff, commenting on the YouTube videos if you're listening to us over there. All of that means so much to us. If you are interested, we do have a Patreon and a Ko-fi. Ko-fi is great for one-time donations, and Patreon is great if you want to get access to, exclusive bonus episodes and our monthly podcast Show and Tell that is exclusive to Patreon. You also get to vote in polls about what upcoming episodes will be, and we're Authors Note Pod on those platforms as well. If you want to find me on any form of social media, you'll find me lurking in AMV comment sections at Valhethella. That's VALHETHELLA. Teese, if people want to find more of you, where can they get you at?
You can follow me at Vicunad. That's VICUNAD. You can see me there. Get angry about an AMV competition from 21 years ago. Our theme music was made by James Yaiullo. Give him a follow on Bandcamp. You could find him under Bandcamp at James Y. You could also support him on Fridays during Bandcamp Friday. Cass, who did our beautiful cover work?
I'm so glad you asked, Teese. That was done by my wonderful son, Nyaliest. You can find him on Twitter at... I use he, him pronouns because it's a joke, but that's Majala. She is on Twitter at Nyaliest, NYALLIEST. She's a phenomenal artist. Check her out. She screams a lot about Final Fantasy and Grand Blue.
It's great. I love
Until
Dala.
next time, stay safe, wear a mask, tell us about your favorite AMVs, and don't forget to hit us up with questions. Bye!
Bye!